I'm Lesley Canarium, Reader Conversations Librarian at the Rogers Public Library, with this month's Take It, Make It project for adults, which is going to be pop-up paper earrings. I do need to give a shout out to my daughter, who originally sent me the idea for this project, and very kindly even sent me the pattern. And that's a reminder that if any of you have any little craft projects that you would like to see us work on, or something that you've always wanted to learn how to do stop by the library and let me know, and I'll see what I can do. But for this project, you will need a couple of tools. I try to avoid that, but in this case, if you're doing crafts at all, you probably have them already. One that's very handy is the needle nose pliers. And the other one that we'll be using is an X-Acto knife. Though if you don't want to buy one, I actually bought this to help me open shrink-wrapped packages. But you can just use a very sharp knife. But either way, you want something that's very sharp, so this is not probably one of those projects you want to do with a kid. So what we're going to start with is everybody gets a sheet of craft paper. All the designs are different. The front is colorful, the back is white. If for some reason, like me, you're a little bit extra and you decide that you want to paint the back of the project, that's fine too. Just make sure don't water down your paint, and don't make it too thick, because this is paper and you don't want it to soak through. And make sure it's completely dry before you start on the project. You can see this particular one, I've already got parts cut out of it. I had painted it copper on the other side because I'm extra, like I said. And you should have a pattern for your pop-up project. It'll look something like this. It's got the design, and then it explains what all the little different symbols mean. You just need to cut that out. And we're going to use the very high-tech transfer method of a pencil and just scribble over the back of your pattern using a nice crosshatch design to make sure that it's completely thoroughly coated. And taking a sharp pen, you'll take your pattern, lay it on the back side of your paper, your craft paper. So if you've painted it, it'll be on the painted side. And very carefully trace over the pattern. This will transfer it through. Make sure you don't jiggle it, because that will mess you up. Though if you get messed up, there's plenty of paper, so like I just did. So you can always transfer it again. And as you should be able to see, I hope that transferred the pattern very nicely over onto the back of your paper. Then we're going to take scissors and cut out the square. You're going to want to do this twice because presumably you have two ears. Now we're going to fold it together, point to point, like that. You can do a little trimming if you messed up like me. It's very forgiving. And then these opposite ends where there's a solid line, you're going to want to cut those off like so. This will give your earrings a nice hexagonal shape. You're going to want to put either a cutting mat, a nice one like this if you've got one, or a piece of cardboard, it doesn't really matter, underneath this before you start slicing, because you don't want to cut up your dining room table. And then you're going to take your X-Acto knife, or your very sharp knife, and you're going to cut along the solid lines. Can flip it over and you'll be able to see where your lines are, hopefully. And if they didn't go quite through, looks like these mostly did, but that one wants to be sliced again, so. And the dotted and dashed lines on your pattern, you're just going to want to score to make the fold nice and neat. You can either just poke with the tip of your blade like that. Or if you have a needle handy, you can poke them with a needle, but you just want to make it so that it'll make a nice sharp crease. And then we're going to do the pop-up part. So open it up, and we're going to fold along those edges. Make a nice sharp fold where we scored it. So the one and then the other, like that. And then the outer piece. So this way. And that way. And when we open it up, and then we're going to pop out the very outside ring, like so. Just you want to be gentle with it because it is paper. You don't want to force it. And then we're going to push back the middle ring, like that. You can pop out the inner bit. Like that. Carefully working it until it takes its shape. Until you're going to get something that looks like that when you've got all your creases in. And then we'll just flatten it out a little, and you have this lovely, almost jewel-like dangle. Now, at this point, you would have gotten a bunch of jewelry findings in your kit, so you can actually turn this sweet little design into an earring. You have a couple of choices. You can just poke a hole at the top and put in a jump ring. You've got a stud type earring holder that you can just put in through there. Or you can get kind of fancy with the beads and the eye rings and that sort of thing. This is one I made earlier, which has just the jump rings that are attached to the stud. This one, we're going to go put in an eye ring and a bead. Take your eye ring. I don't think I want it quite that long. I'm going to trim that a bit. Get my little wire clippers, and I'm just using this as a rough measure so I could get them the same length. Both earrings, though I suppose one can be longer than the other. Nothing wrong with that. And there we go. Just cut that off and discard that bit. And take a little bit of craft glue and stick it in the foldy bit right there. Take my eye ring, stick that bead up against the eye ring. Stick that there. Pinch it tight. Give it a few seconds count to let the glue set. And then you're going to want to let that dry for a couple of hours to make sure it doesn't fall apart before you start fiddling with it some more. But I happen to have one here already made, and so you'll look something like this once your glue is dry. And you'll take your earring back, which looks like this, and a jump ring. And this is why you want the needle nose pliers, because this makes this so much simpler. I used to do this just with my hands, and you can, but I'm old, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I just stick the pliers in there, open up that jump ring just a bit, and feed one end through my earring holder, earring back, and one end through the little thing at the top of the eye ring. And we're just gonna take our pliers again and close up that jump ring. Okay, make sure the ends of the circle meet because it'll all fall out again if you don't. It's an earring there, all set ready then for you to wear for a fancy occasion. They're not going to last very long. They are paper, but you've got plenty of paper to work with, and I hope you've learned new techniques. And next month, we'll have a new project. Since it's May for Mother's Day, I know what your mother has always been wanting is a bouquet of roses made out of toilet paper rolls. Trust me, they're cute.